Hi everybody, my name is Jessica and this is my channel Plant Hooker, and we're doing something different today. I got Angus with me. We are going to do Am I the A-hole dog version, and I specifically looked up Great Pyrenees because that's what he is. So we're going to read posts from the from Reddit, and we're going to vote if this person is the a-hole or not. So, am I the a-hole? So this is the first one. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to let her dogs inside the house, or I would report her? This is a tough one, especially for GPs. I, 25 male, have been dating someone, 27 female, for almost a year. She has a small farm with chickens, goats, and some sheep. When we met, she told me she had 2 dogs. Almost 2-year-old Great Pyrenees. I know where this is going now. And a 3-year-old Border Collie. I grew up with dogs, and so I didn't think much of it. I've been to her farm a couple of times, but never stayed overnight, or really seen how she treated her dogs. I went a couple of days ago. Since then, I've seen how she treats her dogs. Oh yeah, a few weeks ago she brought up moving in, and we decided that I'd stay at her place for a week and then we'd make a plan. I missed parts there. I went over a couple of days ago, and since then I've seen how she treats her dogs. They never come inside the house. They're farm dogs. They are outside with her animals most of the day and then sleep in the barn. They rarely get human interaction except for when she lets the animals out and brings them back in. Does a short training session, and she occasionally does some agility training with the Border Collie. They never get taken anywhere. They live completely on the farm. If they need a vet, then one comes out to the farm. Wow, that's great. The Great Pyrenees is not fixed. No, because if he's a male, they have a hard time with neutering. I brought this up, and she said that they are fine living outside and that they live a more fulfilling life than most dogs do now. True. I asked what would happen if one of them injured themselves during the night, and she didn't seem concerned. No, because whatever would try to injure them is going to get unalived. She said she would take care of it in the morning. She said that then being able to be outside doing a job is better for them than living inside being bored all day, and that the Great Pyrenees would get fixed when he was old enough. Or it was old enough. I grew up with dogs, and all my dogs lived inside. We had bigger dogs and they were fine, so I know that dogs can live inside and be healthy and happy. Additionally, all of them were fixed before they were 1. I told her that if she didn't let the dogs inside and not make them sleep in an unheated barn, I would call animal control on them. She said I was an a-hole and that I don't understand dogs or know anything about them. Would I be the a-hole if I did report her? Yeah, buddy, you would. Now, like Angus, because he got too hot, he moved off the couch. From the time I first got Angus to about maybe a year ago, he would want to sleep outside 24/7. I had to stop him because GPs bark all night, and I got a couple of noise complaints from my neighbors, and I had to stop letting him sleep outside. Unless it was like 25 degrees or more during the day, then I could let him sleep outside and nobody would complain. Nobody would say, oh, you're bad for your dog and whatnot. And yes, I see him. And he was fine. It's only maybe the last year, I think it's because he's 9 now, that he doesn't want to sleep outside at night. He wants to be with us. Because it's only been since the spring where he'll actually go upstairs and he'll either sleep in my room or my youngest's room, or at the top of the stairs, staring straight down at the door. These dogs are made to sleep outside. They are specifically bred to sleep outside. And if you were to report somebody for that, especially since she's on a farm, her neighbors are far, nobody's complaining about the noise, yes, you would be the butthole. And Reddit did say this guy was, or a-hole. Okay, now for number 2. This one is, am I the a-hole for getting annoyed at good boy for following me everywhere? Right away, I want to say yes. Because, like, it took me 5 years to get him trained for recall. That's how stubborn these GPs are. This one is actually a Great Pyrenees and Golden mix, or a GP Doodle, maybe. So, Dude is the world's greatest dog, Great Pyrenees Golden mix. However, as the favorite, I am followed all around the house, and since I lose all my things, it's especially annoying when I'm just trying to find my keys and he isn't helping. At the very least, he could find them for me. In all seriousness, is this a GP thing? No, that's the retriever. I know I just need to suck it up and let him follow me, but I do wonder if this contributes to any anxiety on his part. Should I tell him to lay down and stay? I also feel bad when he seems perfectly comfortable and I'm just going downstairs or upstairs to do something mundane like change the laundry or go to the bathroom. No. You are a jerk for thinking like that. We'll say that. Maybe not a butthole. Like, for an example, when I was younger, I used to have a miniature collie dachshund mix, and she would follow me everywhere, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And then after her, I had gotten a Ziva's the main character. I had gotten a German Shepherd Rottweiler mix. She wouldn't follow me, but she would follow my oldest. She was enthralled and in love with him. Him, however, never follows me around the house. However, if I'm inside the house, like within the last year, he wants to be inside the house as well. If I'm outside the house, then he wants to be outside the house as well. So that's what he does. Do I wish he would follow me everywhere? Sometimes, because it's nice having like that extra set of eyes watching your back. I do know that when I went on vacation last month and he was with the sitter, he would follow her around the house. It's like, oh, you're leaving. Are you taking me home now? Are we going somewhere? And he would follow her everywhere. But her dog doesn't. But when her dog Willow is here, she'll follow me around the house. Like, are you taking me back to my mommy? Are you taking me back to my mommy? Kind of thing. So, no, I don't think you're a butthole. I do believe you're being a bit of a jerk. But it's nothing to have your dog follow you. It's actually more of an honorable thing because they really love you. So, yeah. It's not a peer thing. It's a golden thing. Okay. Now for story number 3. Am I the a-hole for being uncomfortable with my girlfriend being naked around her dog? Yeah. You would be. So here's the story. My 33 male girlfriend, 30, hates clothes. So I take it she never outgrew that stage, because a lot of kids are like that. I was like that when I was little. To the point where she has actively researched nudist colonies, and if it wasn't for having to occasionally go into the office, she would have moved there long before she met me. So she's always naked around the house, which for me is hella nice. She's got a rockin' bod. Oh my lord. The issue is her 2-year-old dog. The dog is a super cute and fluffy Great Pyrenees. Very well trained. 10-10, a good girl. My girlfriend was there when her friend brought the heavily pregnant mom home from the pound, was there at the birth and fell in love immediately. She sees that dog as the closest thing she'll ever have to a kid due to medical issues, which most people feel. However, my girlfriend is just always naked at home, playing with the dog naked, cuddling on the couch naked. She keeps a slip dress by the door for walks, but otherwise naked. And it's weird, right? I try to be subtle, but finally the other day I sat down with her and pointed out that yes, she's trained the dog to not sniff human butts, but it's still like something out of a legal adult movie for her to be naked with an animal all the time. Wow, she got pissed and asked me to leave. I tried to talk sense into her, but she wasn't listening to it. I finally left her house, and once I got back to my apartment, I tried texting one of her friends, but she blew up at me saying but. My girlfriend is now radio silence. Am I the butthole here? Edit. Wow, I stepped away to make and eat dinner and this blew up. I wasn't expecting this many things. To answer questions, no, I'm not a troll, and I'm not jealous of a little female dog. I know my girlfriend isn't doing anything, but it's still weird. I do see being naked as sometimes I'm fully naked, or when I'm showering, or when I'm having giggity with her. I respect that my girlfriend doesn't feel the same way, but I'll get up to use the bathroom or something and come back to the dog in my spot on the couch, asleep with her head on my girlfriend's naked thigh. That's just so weird. How is it not? Not your house, not your body, not your dog. If the girlfriend doesn't find it weird, like I would find it weird, I wouldn't be comfortable sitting naked with Angus on my lap just because he's got nails and I don't want something poking me. But if she's not finding it weird, then leave her alone. It's only you, and if you're uncomfortable with it, don't date this woman anymore. That's all there is to it. Oh, one of the first comments is YTA, you're the a-hole. You basically just accused your girlfriend of having giggity with her dog. How are you not in the wrong here? Yeah. Yeah, you're the that's bad. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah, you're the butthole. Sorry, buddy, but you're the butthole. Oh, holy cow. Well, I think I can move on to another one. Let's see if I can find more AITA, Great Pyrenees post. Okay, so here's story number 4, and the title is just, am I an butthole for this? That's all it is. I guess it's considered to be a discussion. Okay, so, and it looks pretty long, so here we go. So forgive me here, it's still pretty fresh, and so I may not word things correctly. I live in a house. I have a fenced-in backyard. My neighbors on one side also have a dog. We won't be referring to them, though, but the others tend to the stray cats in the area. I feel it may be an important note that they are retired and tend to do yard work, woodworking most days. I wasn't aware that we had any problems. In fact, when I had ever talked to them, mainly the husband, the wife tends to stay inside. He has always been nice. In fact, when we first moved in, he befriended our 2 dogs at the time. We have since added another to our fur family, but lately he hasn't really said anything to us regarding anything other than the occasional hi and how are ya? But last night around 8 p.m. we were letting our dogs out one last time before we got ready for bed and did our nightly routines, and he was trimming something up right next to our fence line. Well, we let our dogs out, and our Great Pyrenees mix began barking at him while wagging his tail. It wasn't excessive or for very long, just enough to run up and say hello, and when we told him to back off, he was fine. But apparently he told my wife that he was getting tired of it. And at first she chuckled and said, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. And then he immediately turned to her cold and went, no, seriously, you need to look into shock collars. I'm sick of it. Especially that one, pointing at, of course, the Pyrenees mix. I should mention he has never brought this up to us before. I don't feel like my dogs have ever barked excessively. I mean, don't get me wrong, they bark, but so does any dog The only one who does most of the barking is the Pyrenees. Yeah, I know, I get it. I've had issues with that too. And he only does it when he gets excited, and it's never for very long, 30 seconds to a minute, and it stops. And he just happily whines while getting the butt wiggles. That's the other half, not the peer part. I also know that not everyone is used to dogs, but his daughter, who lives around the corner, also has 3 dogs that also bark, I would say, around the same amount. My question is, what can he technically do? Because I'm honestly shocked that he has never talked to me that way and has always come to me with a sense of respect. I should mention that I'm not going to shock collar my dog. No, that's bad. And he doesn't bark enough for me to even justify it. Or could be justified. I don't like them, and for a creature that has the mental capacity of a toddler to shock them when they're trying to talk to you seems pretty immoral to me. Agreed. So I just don't know what to do here. Like, a part of me wants to try and remedy the situation, but yeah, he's a dog. He's doing dog things. And am I a butthole for this? No. You are not a butthole for your dog. No, like, I get it. I've had neighbors complain about him because, like, he's not pure peer, but the peer is the dominant breed in him. Like, he's more peer than anything else. And because of that, the peer does take over. And he does bark a lot at certain neighbors. But he doesn't do, like, the butt wiggle like your dog does. And he doesn't stop right away. Mine will keep going until they're out of sight, because there's some of them that he absolutely just hates. Like my Shetty Campside neighbor, he's fine with everybody but the top father figure. And I still don't understand why, but he just doesn't like this person with a passion. And he doesn't like butt wiggle. It's like his menacing bark. And then he'll bark at night because there's like raccoons, there's coyotes. I've seen bobcats, deer around where I live, even though like I have houses all around me. He'll still like be protective and whatnot. So I do understand to a point where your neighbor's coming from. But I don't understand, like, why now? Why not before? Like, dogs are going to bark. You can't control them. And if you're not letting yours out at night, what does he have wrong with? I mean, yes, he, like, barked at him for a little bit. I think he more or less got scared. And if your peer mix is anything like mine, it's a big, big dog. And he's possibly afraid. So, no, I don't think you're a butthole at all. I think your neighbor just got scared, and he's scared and embarrassed, and he's taking that out on you. That's just my opinion. So, I think we have enough time for another one. I didn't realize that I could get through these quick enough. But let's try a 5th one. Okay, so here's story number 5. Okay. AITA for filing a formal complaint. Where is this one going? Okay, so here we go. Forgive me if this is lengthy. There is quite a backstory. I, 37 female, my now ex-husband, 49 male. I'm in the same boat. And a friend of ours, 37 female, were all living together. My ex-husband had 3 dogs, one of which was later rehomed because she was not adjusting to the new dogs well. Our friend had 3 as well. One of my ex-husband's dogs was the daughter of one of my friend's dogs. My friend's dog was named Tabby for short. My ex's dog that was Tabby's daughter was named Star. There was an issue with Star and Tabby getting loose. Now Tabby was a wolf dog. 30% wolf. Oh. She liked to roam and she could jump. Star, her daughter, was more of a follower and built an attachment to Tabby. Star was already 6 months old by the time Tabby came in and had originally bonded with my Great Pyrenees. Needless to say, lots of complaints about Star and Tabby getting loose and many visits from the police. bird clock. It's 1 o'clock. It wasn't from a lack of trying to keep the dogs contained. Trust me, they never got loose the same way twice. We had tried just about everything you can think of. People were also supposedly reporting them as aggressive. Dogs bark. The majority of people associate barking with aggression. Barking simply means they are vocal, not aggressive or vicious. They had never bitten or attacked anyone or anything. This is also important. We have a rather large house, 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 1 half bath. It's approximately 3 stories. We are located right along 63 as you come into town. It became really obvious really fast that we needed at least a 6-foot fence to keep the dogs contained. I have video of Tabby jumping on top of a 4-foot kennel-like fence like it's nothing. Hold on, that is an important part. My friend and I went to the city to ask if we could build a 6-foot fence. We were told no more than 4 feet, due to the location of the house. Because it was along the highway, a 6-foot fence would obscure the view. Keep in mind the house is 3 stories tall, over 2,000 square feet, and the curb to the road is at least 20 to 25 yards away from the house. A 6-foot fence won't obscure anything. We even showed the video of Tabby. They still said no. Oh my Lord. That would drive me. So we had to resort to less effective means, such as an electric fence, shock collars, you name it. Naturally, there were still issues with the dogs getting out. Of course, you are going to have issues with that. Dead batteries, defective collars, etc. Yeah, I've had that happen. That is until someone began cutting the line to the electric fence. Obviously, the line won't work if it's been cut. It was cut on 6 different occasions before we replaced it, and it was a much thicker wire. We did that on purpose because cutting it would take quite a bit of doing. Why would somebody cut an electric fence? Now you are wondering where this is going. Like I said, all of this information is important. January 2nd, 2023, the dogs had gotten loose again. The fence was working properly. They all had their collars on properly. For those of you who don't know, the collars that go with the electric fence have to be put almost directly under the chin and very tight. Obviously not enough to hurt them, but make sure they stay put. I went outside to check on them, and it looked like 4 of the 6 total dogs we had at the time had cornered a coyote in the yard. Oh yeah. That's the GP. I went back inside and went out about 5 to 10 minutes later and didn't see Tabby and Star, but saw Jack and Drizzt. I figured they were around back as the line extends all the way around the house and not just the front lawn. We even have it around the 2 acres of land so they can run and burn off energy. I went back inside. 5 minutes after that, we hear the dogs going crazy outside, and I see a cop in the driveway. I told my ex to go handle it while I was taking care of my 9-year-old daughter. He goes outside, and I go and stand in front of our bay window where I have a clear view of the officer, his vehicle, and the 2 other dogs, still in the yard. The officer got out of his truck and took aim at Jack, who was in the yard and a good 20 feet away from the officer. Naturally, my ex got back up about that. Oh my Lord. The officer had no intention of resolving the issue. He was hunting. He told my ex point blank in front of witnesses that if he found Tabby and Star first, was going to shoot them, and he used the excuse that there was another report of them being aggressive. Well, he found them first, and in front of witnesses, shot the dogs point blank. It was one shot that they were standing next to each other. The dogs weren't acting aggressive at court. According to witnesses, the cop walked at them and shot them. Oh my Lord. Here's the worst part. Tabby was pregnant. We had planned to sell them. She was less than a week from them birth. We had an autopsy done. He didn't kill 2 dogs. He killed 10. Fast forward to now, I have been pretty vocal about how I did not agree with the officer's conduct or handling of the situation. I know animal cruelty when I see it. Apparently, said officer's mother had been looking for me for the last week. She was texting mutual friends of ours. Well, ran into her at the locals bar. She immediately got in my face, started calling me names, and threatened me. I turned around and walked away. I have neither the time nor the inclination to enter that BS. Initially, upon the incident on the 2nd, I wanted to file a complaint against him. We also are planning to sue the sheriff's office and the officer in question as well. Our lawyers advised me not to, so they could get all the stuff together to sue. Also to the purpose of watching how the department handled it as a whole, after what the officer's mother-in-law did. Well, kind of hard not to think he had her do it. Let's face it, it doesn't look good for him. That left me with no choice but to file a formal complaint. Now, some are saying that I'm a butthole for doing it because the odds are that he didn't put her up to it. I would love to believe that, but we have been harassed for months about the dogs, even having someone intentionally cut the electric fence just to cause problems. And keep in mind that I made no secret about how I felt about he handled the situation. Some still insist I'm the butthole and should let it go. I don't agree with that. I know unprofessionalism, excessive force, and animal cruelty when I see it. And you're bloody right. I'm going to call it out. AITA for filing the complaint. No. Like, if the dog never showed aggression towards the police officer, and it was in your yard, and he was in your yard, oh my Lord, if somebody had come in my yard and shot Angus, I would be mortified. And I will admit, he has gotten loose on me, and somebody did take a puck shot at him. And that sent him home. Like, they missed him, and he came home. And yeah, like, wow. Wow. Yeah, this is mixed. Like, a lot of people are saying that she's not the butthole, and some are saying she is the butthole. First comment is, NTA, wow, I'm so sorry you and your poor dogs went through that. I hope he gets fired and you take him for all he's worth. Another one here that says that she is the butthole for not rehoming dogs that were not suitable for your property and you were unable to keep them safe. I say this is as a person with a Kelpie who has never met a fence they could not scale. And YTA for backyard breeding. Oh, I'm sorry, but nobody's a butthole for backyard breeding. It's your animal. You're allowed to do it if you so wish. I know I couldn't do it because I know how many dogs need to be rehomed and rescued, and that I would not have the heart to go out and buy one, which is why I got him. I rescued him. But you had an electric fence. They had 2 acres to run around in. You asked the HOA or whatever they call it to put up a 6-foot fence all around your property, and you were denied that. Like, what are you supposed to do? And somebody was cutting your electric fence. Whoever was cutting the fence was probably the one making the complaints, and that's why it was happening. And here's a long one about, because everybody was back and forth. But here's a comment. I think some aren't reading the post correctly. First, the 2 dogs in questions weren't mine. However, they were all up to date on their shots and treated for anything related to health issues immediately. Second, there was no backyard breeding. The breed that Tavi was bred with was chosen after extensive research in regards to temperament, how vocal they are, and any genetic ailments that may cause issues later in life, such as seizures or hip dysplasia. Third, some seem to be missing the fact that I mentioned that we have 2 acres of land that is protected by the electric fence. Yeah, Fourth, the line for the electric fence has been cut on multiple occasions. That's a lot of money to have to rewire your electric fence. Like, that's hundreds of dollars. And the line for been cut multiple occasions. Those occasions were when the dogs got out, and that was the only time. There were plenty of room for them to run. Fifth, and most important, the two in the question went through the electric fence in spite of the shock, chasing a coyote out of the yard. That would probably be the GP. They're doing their freaking jobs. I find it pretty asinine to be called a terrible person when we did everything we could only to have someone trespass onto our property and sabotage the effectiveness of the fence for no other purpose than to cause a problem. The other key factor that seems to have been missed is that I was forced to rehome my dog. Mine was the Great Pyrenees that was mentioned, but clearly that was skipped over by a couple. That was due to said friend refusing to rehome her dog when it was her dog that was the problem. I did what was in the best interest of my dog, and now she is very happy and is thriving. I see her on a regular basis, and I am friends with her new owner. The two dogs in question were not my dogs. Okay. The other key factor is how I specifically said that I was calling out the conduct of the officer in question. Yeah. There is absolutely no reason for him to exit his vehicle and take aim at the dog of my friend owned that was in our yard, standing in front of the house. There is no excuse for pointing a loaded firearm at that particular dog and placing a minor child that was in the house in danger. I'm a terrible person who shouldn't own animals. Really, we did everything we could to keep them safe, but it's kind of hard to do so when someone else has interfered. That's the part that people are missing. They were cutting her fence. What are you supposed to do? Like, I've had people come into my yard before I had my cameras put up and leave my gate open to try and get him to escape. Luckily, I noticed it and was able to close it before he got out. There was one time where it was left open and he was in the yard, and I just happened to have a bag of his favorite treats that day, and like, oh, he came back. So yeah, I get that. When somebody is cutting your fence, it sucks. And I had somebody cut my fence too when I had my horse. So yeah, I understand what this person is going through. Like, that is terrible. And like, she never committed animal abuse. Like, no, this poor person went through something awful, and I feel terrible for her. So, are you the AITA for filing a formal complaint? No, you had every right to do it. So, yeah. So that's 5 stories. I think this is probably long enough for am I the a-hole for Great Pyrenees. I might, maybe if this video gets enough likes and people enjoy it and whatnot, I'll do Angus's other breeds, because he's, even though I post him as Great Pyrenees in Newfoundland, he does have like small amounts of other breeds in him, like Cuvaz, Samoyed, Commandor, and surprisingly, Llewellyn Setter. And and here's the funny part, he's 2% Jack Russell Terrier. So, yeah, so the GP is the dominant breed, but not the only one. So, if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you can always give me a thumbs down. Everybody has a right to their opinion. But if you really like the video, let me know, and maybe I can do more. Am I the buttholes, but dog versions? Because I think, like, because there's a lot of dog people, and it's hard to know if you're being a butthole or not when it comes to your dog. Like, for example, I am probably the butthole when it comes to my neighbors with him because of how much he barks. But since I'm selling them eggs, they don't think that anymore. So, and to close off, because I know I usually do bake on, plant on. So live long and rescue on.